Hello everyone, and welcome back to a video by yours truly, the Joy of Painting. In today's episode, it's been a bit late. Yeah, I know, it's been maybe a year or two, but I'm here, and with the greatest news ever, DAKKA, or More Dakka as it's commonly known, has now been nerfed. So, join me today just to explain from my perspective why it was so broken, what I look forward to seeing with the new detachment. Wobble gun. So, for some of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jack Masters. I am part of the GR meme team. I have been in the hobby for since I was 6. I'm now 33, but I've loved every minute ever since. And in today's episode, I just wanted to have a quick talk about what I felt, how the More Dakka came across and what made it so good. So, for those of you who don't know what's been going on in the main world of 40k, in the competitive game of 40k, GW decided to release 3 new detachments for the last balanced data sheet. You had Lions of the Emperor for the Adeptus Custodes, which is a very, very good list. Really good detachment, which kind of revolves around you playing, like, each unit of Custodians is like an absolute beast, and they get +1 to hit, +1 to wound, which is amazing going into anything. You have the Tau prototype or weapons prototype detachment, which kind of focuses on more range to your Tau guns. It seemed pretty cool. I haven't played it yet, but I know one of our meme team members has played it, Jim Allen, and he doesn't think it's the best, but I think it's quite cool. And then lastly, Games Workshop decided to throw a complete spanner in the works, literally, and bring in the detachment More Dakka. Now, More Dakka is very much a case of what Orc players have been waiting for a very long time. This being a detachment based around the Bad Moon clan, which is all about guns, lots of range, lots of shooting. And when I saw this, I just was a bit in awe. I was a bit like, what the hell have Games Workshop smoked? This is crazy. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but as we can see from the tournament data, the South Coast GT and one American GT, Orcs came first, second, and third in all the tournaments, and it was a little bit insane. So, what do? So, the army rule is very basic. So, every infantry and every walker gets sustained 2. So it doesn't sound like great when you're orcsing on 6s, but I will explain why why it's so good. And then also when you call the war, all your walkers and infantry get assault on their weapons, which allows you to move your normal movement, advance, shoot, and also charge, because obviously orcs are still orcs, they like to hit stuff. And yeah, it was a very, very strong detachment. I looked at it and went, how has this become a thing? And initial thoughts as a Goth player, I was like, this is really cool. It's not for me, but obviously that changed drastically when I ran it to the South Coast GT, because I saw how bonkers it is. But as you can see from the title of this video, that it has been nerfed. Go through and see what things do. Warcom, trusty Warcom. So, this is, as I said before, the main rule is DAKKA, and that gives all units sustained hits 2, and all your walkers as well. And then when you call the war, it gives you assault in the war. So it's pretty good. Your enhancements are quite standard for a detachment of shooting ability. You've got the Gobshot Thunderbuss, which gives an orc model hazardous and devastating wounds. So you can stick that on a big mech or shock attack gun and see your opponent laugh when you go, oh my god, I've just shot this many shots, and it's going to hit you and destroy you quite quickly. You've then got the Dead Shiny Shooters, which originally I thought was quite a lot of points what you get, but as Wild Tactics have talked about in the past, using kind of their SWAT tactics kind of motif. You stick that in a big mech, and then you basically charge them up, get them out right in the front of your opponent, and they're all getting rapid fire 1. So that's all your rockets, your shock attack guns. Like, getting that extra hit, extra shot can do some damage in the end. You then got targeting squigs, which is a +1 to hit from range. So again, stick on a big mech shock attack gun and you get +1 to hit. And, you know, hit orcsing on 4s with sustained 6, a sustained 2 is just bonkers. And the last one is More Dakka, and it is an orcs model only, and the bearers unit can eligible to shoot when it falls back. So we all know that for shooting armies, when you get locked into combat, it's quite difficult to then kind of counteract that. But if you use this, stick it in a unit of like tank busters or looters, and then you're laughing because you can still shoot when you fall back. Now, the stratagems. This is where it gets a little bit cheeky. So most of them are they're okay. They're not like massively broken, but there's 2 or 3, I should say, which are very, very tasty. So the first one is Orcs is still Orcs, so it's in the fight phase and it's in combat. So you target an Orc unit and then you reroll 1s to wound, but you reroll all wounds if you're on objective. So it's quite nice if you've got like a little combat unit just to kind of go in after like you've been hit, and they can kind of deal with the immediate threat that is in front of you. The big one, which has got people talking, is Get Stuck In, which basically is 1 CP, and you can put any unit in the war, and you constantly can do this for 1 CP. And I will get to explain why I think this is what makes this army so valid, because it's just such a pain in the butt to play into. You've got huge shafts, which is quite cool for your Jeff Dreads, your Gorkanauts, your Morkanauts, and your Stomper lovers, because you get +1 to hit, and you get +1 OC, +1 move, +1 leadership, and +1 OC for 1 CP, and you do it in the command phase. So you can make Stompers hit on 4s, Gorkanauts hit on 4s, and it's quite tasty. This one is the next one. Long uncontrolled bursts is one thing that I think it will immediately get reworded. And when on the morning of the South Coast GT, I told Manny Cheeman about this, and he was like, I didn't realise. And I was like, yeah, you can do it. So it basically gives an orc character within 18 inches of 1 unit can look at it and go, anything that shoots it ignores cover. Now we all know that cover can be quite a pain when it becomes like AP1 weapons going to AP0, AP2 going to AP1, and you can't get that many shots in. However, with this, you can just go, I'm going to pick this command, this orc that can't physically see this other thing in the building, everything else, fire into it, and you get no cover. So if your opponent's got like a massive Death Star unit, you can literally just shoot it and they get no cover, and you just get all the shots you can do. You then got Special Shells, which is quite a nice little CP strat to use. It enables you to get +1 AP if you're within 18 inches of the unit you're firing. So you can have like AP2 looters, you can potentially have AP4 tank busters if you really want to, AP6 big mech shock attack guns. They're quite tasty. And the last one is Call That Dakka, which is done in your opponent's shooting phase. Once you get shot, you shoot back as if it was your shooting phase, but you don't get sustained to because it's not technically your turn, and it kind of comes into the schedule of where you are in the game. Now, in terms of the South Coast GT, if we look at all the top players that took Dakka, that was Ben Jones, who came first, Mandy Cheeman, Brian Sepp, Tom Green, Jake Harding, and myself. We all had the initial core units, and these core units were Zogrod Wartsnagger, 3 big mech shock attack guns, 18 tank busters, 20 grots, 10 grots for your home objective, and then 30 lures to kind of hold back, which leaves you with 870 points to spend wherever you want. So that could be like more trucks, you could take flash kits, because I know a lot of the guys took like big squads of flash kits because they're so tanky. They do a surprising amount of shots when they shoot out, and they are really good SWAT units, I should say. So my list for South Coast was what I've said before, which is Zogrod Wartsnagger, 3 big mech shock attack guns, 30 lures, 18 tank busters, 20 grots, 10 grots, and then I took a unit of commandos because the play with this list is to basically use Zogwad Wartsnagger to infiltrate, to scout up and basically cage your opponent into their deployment zone. And on UKTC terrain, it is really good to kind of hold them back and say, look, you're not playing turn one. I am literally holding you back, and you literally cannot move no matter what. And I have to say, like, for someone who doesn't like Zoddy Groddy normally, he's actually really good in this attachment because, again, in your turn one, you spend a CP, you put the Grots in the War, which means they move 12, they scout 9, move 12, and then they can advance and charge as well. So you can literally, like, if you imagine if you're playing like the box shape and your opponent's here and here, you can literally cover the entire section and they cannot get through, which means you're going to max primary no matter where you are, and it's great. I then took a few trucks, and the reason why I took the commanders is because I knew that playing into like people from the meme team, they have infiltrators that can stop this play. So the commanders go right in a line and they stop anyone from infiltrating forward and stopping me from doing my thing. And it saved me a couple of times, apart from Ed Watts, who took Mechanicum, and I will never forget how evil those bats are. Evil mechanical bats with their flames of doom. I then took a couple of trucks to have stuff inside. I really liked using kind of Storm Boys to jet about getting like objective markers here and there, and the list was really fun. Like, it's like I haven't seen this kind of damage since Bully Boys came out, but I know there's a few people who would say like Warhol was more oppressive, Bully Boys are more oppressive, like you couldn't do anything into it. But I feel, having played it, and it's just horrible. Like, you could not do anything. Like, if you got first turn and you're playing into someone who is a combat army, the opponent army is dead, because you box them with Zoddy Groddy. They get a -1 to wound. They get -1 to wound because they've got Zogwad in there. They've got a 5-up invulnerable save. They're just a pain to deal with. And because you've got that, if your opponent draws Cull the Horde, they have to focus on that and they have to kill them. Otherwise, they'll just keep on being an absolute nuisance. And I found that the games were great. They were fun. All my opponents were fantastic. I loved them. But I missed combat armies. I really missed playing with an orc army, which is going through and actually hitting stuff in combat. And I just really generally missed it. So after the South Coast, I decided to try and just look what I love about playing with orcs. And obviously it kind of went back to Bully Boys because I've really enjoyed Bully Boys so much. And I feel that at the moment I'm changing up to Warhorde, so I'm kind of going to be doing Warhorde and Bully Boys. So if I do go to more competitive events, I'll maybe try Warhorde more. If I want to have some fun, take Bully Boys and kind of just see how it goes. So we've gone through the strats, we've gone through what the army kind of does. We haven't gone through what the units are quite powerful. So we've gone through the Grots, and they are very strong. The Looters, they are ridiculously strong. The reason being because, again, with Sustain 2 and their unit ability, which is if they shoot anything on objective, they get full reroll. So if you're rolling 24 dice, you get 4 6s. You roll everything else, you're going to have 5 6s. That is another 18 shots going back into the pile, and Strength 8, AP1, Damage 2. Like, they are killing Marines with like a stiff breeze. They are killing them so easily. The Tank Busters, again, +1 to hit, +1 to win against all monsters and vehicles. They have the ability to take a pulse rocket, so you get once per game +1 strength, +1 AP. So you can wound dreadnoughts on, you can wound like contempt dreadnoughts on 2s. You can wound rhino transports on 2s. Anything lower than toughness 10, you're laughing at. And then kind of what makes it worse is that with the shock attack guns, they are able to go in these units and shoot everything that they see in. Because they've got D6 +1 shots, they have a once per game reroll. They hit on 4s with Tank Busters because they gain the benefits of anti-vig, +1 against anti-vig or monster, being strength 9, going to strength 10 if you pop the pulse rocket, being AP4 basic, and then AP5 with the pulse rocket. It just makes them too strong. And seeing that as though they went from 95 points before the new models came out back to 120, and realistically that old tank buster unit was only giving you 3 rockets, 1 pistol and 1 tank hammer, and they had the same rules and everything, but the key change is they allowed characters that could join looter squads to join them, which allowed you to take shock attack guns, big mechs in there, and the ability to come out of a trunk, hit on 4s naturally, no minuses to hit, and just basically look at something and delete it is crazy. And talking about my shotgun, the SWAT team tactic: get a truck, your threat comes up at you, you get out, you shoot it down, and you hope to God that they fail, because rockets are still rockets. They're AP2 damage free, and with D3 shot, with sustained, rerolling 1s. It is really grim. It really wasn't what I was expecting, but again, it was nice to see Bad Moons getting some representation in this army, and I think it's great, but GW hopefully need to retweak it a little bit. So what made it so good? And I'm going to say, quite frankly, it's because of the cheap units, the sustained hits 2, the ability to put units in the war for 1 CP. It just was horrible. Looters, as Jim would say to me, are considerably undercosted. 50 points for 5, 100 for 10, and that gives you 24 shots at the range 24. Rerolls all hits if they're in the war. If they are on objective, and then the ability to move 6, advance D6, and still shoot. You can get the decent angles that you need to like clear off objective markers. And the rock tank busters again, 135 points. They went up by 15 points because they were getting more play within Warhorde, Tactical Brigade, where before this one. And that's the thing as well, speaking just quite briefly back. Tactical Brigade was amazing. Like, I played it in one tournament. It was really cool. It was fun. It gave you the ability to give orders out and stuff. But when you get a truck, you get out, you order yourself +1 to hit, and then stealth and cover. You've got the ability to be able to like ignore AP1, you're minusing 1 to hit roll from your opponent. It's just hard to kill, it's hard to shift. And the same thing with rocket tank busters. They don't get sustained hits too, but they still are able to do what they need to do. And it's grim, it is honestly grim. So without seeing the nerf, what they've done to it, what I would do to change it, and some of this has been used by Jim Allen, so thank you, Jim, for that when we discussed it. I would say that the strat for get stuck in, lads, it needs to be 2 CP, because at 1 CP it's too strong, especially if you're playing around with the whole idea of like using Zodgrod Wartsnagger to block your opponent in. So if you go first, you can't physically do it because obviously it would cost 2 CP. And there's no way to get 2 CP before you activate it. So that's one thing I would change. I would definitely change the wording on long uncontrolled bursts, being that the orc character has to see the unit is targeted, the rest of the army's gonna target, because you could easily just have like a character behind the wall, like a mech or a Snickrat, and go, right, over there, I can't physically see him, but I know they're over there and they need to die. And I think that's what needs to change in regards to that strat. Everything else, I think, is okay for strat points, like 1 CP for all this stuff is fine. Just change the 1 CP, change the 1 CP to 2 CP for get stuck in, lads. Maybe make it so you can't have it with grots, but I don't know, that's a bit too much on that one. In terms of enhancements, yeah, like they're fine. They just give the units they join a bit more extra buff, and they are evenly pointed. I think it's 10 points for Zogoth and Eat Dakka, targeting squigs is 15, Dead Shining Shooters is 35, and then the Gob Shot Thunderbuss is 15. So it's a very, it's not overly priced. I think they're all quite fine. And it brings me down to the sustained hits. I don't know how they're going to fix this, because sustained hits 2 for an orc army is amazing. It's like you just kind of throw caution into the air and just go, well, I've got this amount of shots that get sustained hits 2, and it's going to make them so much more powerful. But if they become sustained hits 1, you might as well just use them. You might as well use Tactical Brigade and then use that, because you get +1 to hit. But maybe given sustained 1 from like normal, and then in the war you get sustained 2, just as they like firing constantly at the opponent, just kind of making loud noises. They literally just go bang, 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 bang. It's good fun. In terms of the future, will we see this new detachment in the future? I don't know, maybe. As a orc specialist, as I say orc specialist, I just like to run orcs. I just want to have some fun. The people who have played me, I just want to have fun and enjoy it. I think for those true Bad Moon players, the ones that are out there, they will love to use this detachment because it's fun, it's enjoyable. It just gives you a bit more of a shooting army, because like Dread Mob is great. It's great for walkers, but it's not really good for infantry. You got Tactical Brigade, which is more like Blood Axe related, and that's again very cool, very, very fun. But again, it's not a true orc shooting detachment. Whereas I hope with this new rewrite, I should say, they make it a bit more thematic and make it a bit more kind of, make it fun for orc players, but make it also kind of pseudo playable. Looks at Speed Freaks and goes, please, Games Workshop, please just make them viable, please. That's all I've really got to say on this one. So thank you all very much for watching. Again, I'm so sorry it's been such a long time. I'm kind of getting myself back to normality and just kind of get myself into the groove of these things. But if you like this video, please share it, share your friends and all that jazz. If you're not sick of my face talking about orcs, then please if you want to see any more orc videos, just put them in the comments below. I'm sure I'll try and do some more editing on this one, but just want to say thank you very much for watching and listening on my thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!